Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name is Mojaxx, and today we are taking a look at something really rather interesting. It's the new version of DJ from Algoriddim. Algoriddim's DJ has been around since 2006, and in the years since, they've pushed boundaries all the way. They are unquestionably the biggest name in iOS DJing with phones and iPads, but what's perhaps less well known is that DJ Pro AI, as it's known today, is a universal app, meaning it works on Macs as well. The app is subscription only. To unlock the Pro features after a free trial, you'll be paying around $7 a month or around $50 a year, but that will allow you to use it on multiple devices, both macOS and iOS. Whilst we're on that topic, there is a Windows version of DJ, but that isn't, at least currently, getting all of the new stuff that I'm talking about here. As someone who generally uses a Windows laptop for DJing these days, I hope that won't be the case forever, but there's no confirmation as of now. And the same goes for the Android version. So consider this video about the features in version 4.0 to be just for Apple users for the time being. There's a big list of new stuff in the release notes, but of course the headline grabber is the addition of DVS, where you can control the app with real turntables. And to put it simply, that works really well. Algoriddim are selling their own special control records, which you might well want due to one specific feature which we'll discuss shortly, but it should also work with control vinyl from other brands. I did try it with Serato vinyl and it seemed to work quite nicely, but I'll test out others in the coming weeks. Calibration is done via an automated process and works in a straightforward fashion. Response is tight, and the way the audio sounds when doing slow drags or fast cuts seems very impressive. The software isn't locked to any particular mixer or interface on Mac. As long as the device supports DVS, you should be able to map the channels out just fine. And then with that we get to what is perhaps even more interesting, the ability to do DVS on iOS devices. This is not the first time we've seen DVS on these platforms, but the way it integrates into software which was already very accomplished is seriously cool. Setup is a little more fussy. To work on iOS, a device must be core audio compliant and not require drivers, but that applies to a lot of DJ mixers these days. On a USB-C enabled iPad, it's as simple as connecting to the USB-C port, although you'll probably want to use an adapter to allow you to charge the iPad at the same time. On older iPads and iPhones which have Lightning connectors, you'll need the Apple Camera Connection Kit, the more recent one with a USB port and a Lightning port for charging. Once you're hooked up, the experience is the same as the desktop. Map your channels and the performance is basically identical. It really is quite magical being able to perform with your turntables as you would with a laptop, but when using such a small device. It's as close as we've ever got to having hardware with DVS embedded into it. As for control mappings, the software is natively mapped for a number of popular mixers, like the Range 70 I've been using, the Pioneer DJ DJM S11 and the Reloop Elite. If your mixer is not natively mapped, then it's pretty simple to map the controls yourself using the editor inside DJ. I was using a custom mapping for the DJM S5 during my testing and it worked great. We move on to the next big and completely unique feature. One of the big selling points of DJ in recent years has been their patented neural mix technology, which splits tracks into different parts or stems in real time. There are other takes on this tech. Virtual DJ have their stems feature, but it has yet to make its way to the big three, Serato, Rekordbox or Traktor. Now, cards on the table, I'm not entirely sold on any of this AI separation stuff personally. I find that you can get great results with it, but that's definitely not always the case, and so I'd be loath to try it on the fly when DJing with tracks I haven't tried it with in the past. But when it does work well, it can sound incredible, and I know there are a lot of DJs who are super hyped on the tech. And so in DJ 4.0 we have something very interesting indeed, in conjunction with the DVS feature. Algoriddim's own control vinyl has a B-side which is split into 3 tracks, the first of which plays the whole track, the second will play the drums and melodic elements, a DIY instrumental if you will, and the third will just play the vocals. This means that you can, at the drop of a needle, switch to different sounds without pushing any buttons at all, so an instant a cappella is just a needle lift away.
What do you feel? Open up your heart, what do you feel? Is it real? The Big Bang might be a million years.
I just know that turntablists and other performance kind of DJs are going to be all over this feature, and rightly so, especially as it works exactly the same on iOS. There's so much more in DJ 4.0 that it's impossible to cover it all in just a short first look video. There's a new look to the Pro mode, which switches to a different interface when you connect a hardware controller, and that looks great with new jog wheel displays. There are loads of new audio effects, you can change the colour of your cue points now, the time stretching has been improved, just a ton of stuff, which I'll have to return to at a later stage. But I do want to touch on the library side of things because there is a lot in there which I am excited about. Firstly, the desktop app now reads your Serato crates, so if you're a user of Serato DJ Pro, switching over is now a lot less work. It will also read cue points and saved loops from that software too, although you will still need to analyse your files in DJ as the beat grids don't transfer. You can now create, edit and delete playlists from your streaming services, so in my case I can edit stuff in my Beatsource library and any changes will be reflected back to my library on other platforms. And with DJ you can mix local and streaming tracks into one playlist, which can be done with some other software, but is the bane of my life in Serato DJ Pro where it can't. The sidebar is really useful, offering multiple functions. It can function as a secondary playlist window, can make AI suggestions of tracks compatible with the one playing, but even more interesting to me is the manual related tracks feature. You can drag other tracks over to link them to one another, so if you know that 2 or more tracks go really well together, this can give you quick access to that little set piece or routine without having to create a playlist or mess with custom tags. Absolutely killer. So that's going to have to be it for a first look. I'll definitely be returning to this after a few weeks of playing around with it. I am very hyped about the new stuff on the desktop version, but what I realised playing around with the iOS version is that something quite important has happened to make that much more feasible for me, and that thing is streaming. The big issue I had with DJ on iOS in the past was getting music into it. If you want your whole library on your phone, say goodbye to a huge chunk of storage space. And if you can work with smaller amounts of tracks, great, but you still have to go through the onerous step of syncing tracks from iTunes or now music on your Mac. But nowadays I use Beatsource obviously a lot, and so those issues are gone. I can open up my playlist from Beatsource on any device with DJ on it, their cloud syncing takes care of cues and beat grids, and I'm good to go. Even the offline locker in Beatsource is supported on iOS, so I know if my connection will be spotty, I can just use that. Honestly, it's a transformative experience compared to how it used to be, and so I can't wait to get really stuck into it at gigs. So there you go, my first look at the new version of DJ from Algoriddim. Lots and lots of stuff crammed into this version. Loads of new features, a lot of which could well be seen as ticking off a wish list from other software like Serato, Traktor or Rekordbox. So I think it's going to turn a lot of heads. I think it's going to get people very excited. Now, of course, the kind of elephant in the room for me is that I don't DJ with a Mac anymore. I DJ with an XMG Windows laptop, and this is Mac only. All of these features are Mac only, at least for now, maybe forever, I don't know. But yeah, this is very Mac and iOS focused. So I'm going to have to kind of dig out my older MacBook Pro, and hopefully I'll be able to make that work, because I do need to spend some serious time with this software. I need to use it out in the wild, in a pressured environment, to see how I can work with these new features and whether it is worth switching from other platforms. There's a lot of exciting stuff here, and of course reliability is always a first and foremost concern for any working DJ. But yeah, I'm hyped to get to know it, and the iOS version perhaps even more so. So what I'd like to hear from you guys and girls in the comments, let us know about Algoriddim DJ. Is it your primary platform of choice, either on a mobile device or on a laptop? Is it your secondary, like backup software that you use in emergencies? Is it something you've just dabbled with every now and again, maybe on an iPad or your phone or something? Or is it something you've never played with before? This version has maybe got you thinking about switching for the first time. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you next time.